Today, we will be telling you about SpaceX's plan to launch a shocking 30,000 satellites to enhance their Starlink system. Starlink, which is expected to be the world's fastest internet service, can be taken to the next level if this mission is achieved. What does Musk have in mind with this mission? How does he plan on doing this? And could launching so many satellites damage our atmosphere? Stick around to find out all about this project. Starlink is a satellite network created by SpaceX to provide low-cost internet to remote areas. According to Elon Musk, this so-called mega constellation might someday host as many as 42,000 satellites. Astronomers, who fear that the satellites would interfere with observations of the universe, and spaceflight safety advisors, who now see Starlink as the #1 source of collision hazard in Earth's orbit, are both concerned about the project's size and scope. Furthermore, some scientists are concerned that the amount of metal that would be burned up in the Earth's atmosphere as aging satellites are deorbited would cause unanticipated climate changes. In January 2015, SpaceX announced its concept for satellite internet. Elon Musk stated the company had submitted applications with international mediators to install 4,000 satellites in the lower Earth orbit, though no name was given at the time. Musk's initial plan of the number of satellites quickly rose, as he planned to capture a piece of the estimated $1 trillion global internet connectivity market to assist in the realization of his Mars colonization ambition. SpaceX has been granted authorization to fly 12,000 Starlink satellites by the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, and the company has filed papers with an international authority to launch up to 30,000 more spacecraft. According to the European Space Agency, 12,480 satellites have been launched in total, with just 4,900 still operational as of January 5, 2022. SpaceX's first 2 Starlink test vessels were successfully launched in February 2018. The corporation requested that its fleet be permitted to fly at lower altitudes than planned based on initial data, and the FCC allowed them to do so. The first 60 Starlink satellites were launched on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on May 23, 2019. The satellites successfully achieved their operational altitude of 340 miles, which is low enough for atmospheric drag to bring them down to Earth in a few years, preventing them from becoming space garbage. According to Sky and Telescope magazine, each Starlink satellite currently weighs 573 pounds and is about the size of a table. Satellite internet works by shooting information through the vacuum of space, where it travels 47% faster than fiber optic cable, rather than sending internet signals through electric wires which must be physically laid down to reach far-flung locales, according to Business Insider. Currently, fiber optic cables are the most common method of accessing the internet across the globe, but of course, Musk has plans to change that. Currently, satellite internet is provided by large spacecrafts orbiting 22,236 miles above a specific location on Earth. However, there are usually severe time delays when sending and receiving data over such a long distance. On the other hand, Starlink satellites are designed to deliver large amounts of data quickly to any location on Earth, even over the oceans and in extremely difficult-to-reach places where fiber optic cables would be expensive to lay down by being closer to our globe. Musk has stated that after 400 spacecraft are operational, the Starlink network will be able to give minor internet coverage and moderate internet coverage after around 800 satellites are online. SpaceX has deployed more than 1,900 Starlink satellites as of early January 2022. According to a Starlink guide, the constellation is currently offering internet access in select places around the globe as part of a beta test program, with download speeds ranging from 100 to 200 megabits per second. SpaceX sells a device that allows anyone on the ground to access broadband transmissions. The package includes a tiny satellite dish with a mounting tripod, a Wi-Fi router, cables, and a power supply, according to the SpaceX webs. Now let's talk about Starlink's effect on the atmosphere. SpaceX wants to update the Starlink mega constellation with modern technology every 5 years. The aging satellites will be directed into Earth's atmosphere, where they will burn up after the end of their service. That is absolutely admirable when it comes to space debris protection. Nevertheless, there is another issue. The massive number of satellites that will be burning up layers of the atmosphere may affect atmospheric chemistry, resulting in unanticipated repercussions for life on Earth. Canadian researcher Aaron Boley stated in a report published in the Journal of Scientific Reports in May 2021 that the aluminum used in the satellites will form aluminum oxide, also known as alumina, during burnup. He warned that alumina is known to deplete ozone and could affect the atmosphere's ability to reflect heat. Boley said alumina reflects light in certain wavelengths, and if you dump enough alumina into the atmosphere, you are going to create scattering and eventually change the albedo of the planet. This might result in an uncontrolled geoengineering experiment and a shift in the Earth's climate stability. The consequences of such changes are still unknown. Karen Rosenloff, an atmospheric chemistry specialist at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, said that she was also concerned about the consequences of particles in the atmosphere from burning satellites. Rosenloff is a specialist in predicting the consequences of geoengineering initiatives. More research is urgently needed to understand the impacts of burning growing numbers of satellites in the atmosphere, according to Dave Fahey, director of NOAA's Chemical Sciences Laboratory, and Martin Ross, a physics and meteorology specialist from the Aerospace Corporation. According to the experts, the concern is that the particles will most likely stay in those upper levels of the atmosphere forever. While the number of satellites burning in the atmosphere will be much fewer than the number of meteorites, the chemical composition of the manufactured objects is different. Therefore, the presence of the byproducts their burning up will produce is unknown to scientists. We have 54 tons of meteoroid material coming in every day, Boley said. With the first generation of Starlink, we can expect about 2 tons of dead satellites re-entering the Earth's atmosphere daily. But meteoroids are mostly rock, which is made of oxygen, magnesium, and silicon. These satellites are mostly aluminum, which the meteoroids contain only in a very small amount, about 1%. The intensity of the impacts would increase as the collection of those particles increased over time. As a result, it's not impossible that pollution from burning mega-constellation satellites may cause changes on a scale comparable to what we're seeing now with fossil fuel-induced climate change over decades. Humans are exceptionally good at underestimating our ability to change the environment, said Boley. There is this perception that there is no way that we can dump enough plastic into the ocean to make a difference. There is no way that we can dump enough carbon into the atmosphere to make a difference. But here we are. We have a plastic pollution problem with the ocean. We have a climate change ongoing as a result of our actions and our changing of the composition of the atmosphere. And we are poised to make the same type of mistake by our use of space. When these concerns were raised to SpaceX, they simply ignored them, making this entire theory even fishier. What does SpaceX now plan to do? Before we answer that question, we would like to thank you for successfully making it to here. You can extend your support by subscribing to Space Facts and liking the video. Now, let's continue. SpaceX has indicated that it will collaborate with groups and space agencies to minimize the mega-constellation's effects. In addition, the business has attempted to calm astronomers' fears about Starlink's impact on the night sky. According to Patricia Cooper, SpaceX's Vice President of Satellite Government Affairs, SpaceX is absolutely committed to finding a way forward so our Starlink project doesn't impede the value of the research you are all undertaking.